Right now, though, joining me on the line is our resident counselor, Simone Momplé, and she is here to talk about our wellness when it comes to mental wellness. Simone, how are you doing?
Hey Khanya, I'm doing great. How are you?
I am well tired. It's that time of the year where it's just, the body, the mind, the spirit, everything is
Mm.
kind of idling down, and it's just getting slower and slower. So it's time for a good service of reconnecting, rebooting, taking some time out. But for now, it's all about serving it simple, smooth, and saucy. And today we are chatting all things about understanding stress, because wow, stress is like, it's like the air. It creeps up, when you didn't expect it, when you didn't even know it was there. The next thing you've got a knot on your neck. The next thing, your skin is breaking up. The next thing, you're just excessively tired. The next thing, you're moody. What is it with stress?
Wow, yes, stress is something that most of us live with more often than what we should. And what I realized is now it's an important topic to talk about now as we're winding down to the end of the year. So yes, our system says we've had enough, and of course it's been 2 years of COVID, and that just is messing up our system, which felt like one long year. And what I realized happens for many of us during this time, and why I want to talk about it is this time is filled with deadlines and things that need to be done. You're wrapping up things around your work or personal life at home. And what happens is we go on holiday after this, but we don't understand why we can't relax on holiday. Why can't our bodies fully be present and our minds just let go? It's because it's sort of developed into this, stress has been a constant, type of experience that we are in, and we just don't know how to switch it off. And I think understanding what it is before we actually start making changes is very, very important.
The voice there of Simone Momplé, our resident counselor when it comes to our mental wellness. Today we are chatting all things understanding stress on the only date that matters, Lunch with Khanya, right here on Radio Bob, the station with the mind of its own. If you have any thoughts, questions, or comments on the topic, you can drop us a line on our WhatsApp. It's 068 579 1843. That's 068 579 1843. You can also drop us a line on our Facebook page, Lunch with Khanya on Radio Bob, and like the page and share it. Otherwise, you can catch us across all our socials on Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter. It's Radio Bob SA, and Miss K Sauce, that's MSKAYSOS on Instagram as well as Twitter. So, Simone, you are saying that we keep on doing the things where we think we are relaxing. So we're going on holiday, we're going on leave, but we have become so accustomed to living stressfully that we don't even relax when we've taken the leave, when we're on holiday.
Yes. And yeah, if I can start with how what happens in your body when you stress. So, a bit of the biology around it is that your nervous system responds by releasing this flood of stress hormones. And this usually comes when we feel threatened. And with the rise of mental illness, issues around mental illness, that threat can come from anywhere, even if it's imagined. And so this flood of stress hormones comes into your body. This includes adrenaline and cortisol, which is, activating the body for an emergency action. So this is a system that lives in our body from when the beginning of humankind. So your heart starts pounding faster, your muscles tighten, your blood pressure rises, and you have like shortness of breath, and your senses become sharper. And this sometimes can be mistaken for something that happens all the time. People just live in this type of state, but it's not healthy. Short amounts of stress is good. Where it comes to like going on a roller coaster, it's necessary. You enjoy it, the adrenaline rises, and you're excited, and it's a good thing. But when it comes to a constant state where your body is constantly thinking, oh, I have this deadline, I'm late for this meeting, I have these things that I need to finish, and you are constantly thinking that, think about it, your heart is pounding faster, it's pushing blood to the muscles, which is your flight or fright responses. So either you're going to be stagnant and your muscles are going to be tightened, ready to run, but you cannot physically run because you're sitting in that meeting, for example.
Sure.
So your blood pressure rises, which is something really difficult for you to find a way to lower that blood pressure. And also, with your shortness of breath, for example, you start breathing very shallow, which means that your oxygen is not going to the rest of your body or the parts that it needs to go to for you to actually think clearly. So your senses are really sharp, but it doesn't mean that you are in a good
In a
state
better
for you to take
state.
action. Yes. So you misguide it and think that, okay, I'm alive, I'm awake, I'm ready to do these things. But at the same time, you're not really ready to tackle everything around you, because in that state, you only focus on one thing. And you stay towards that one thing to activate yourself to get ready to run or to go into a fetal position, for example.
The voice of Simone Momplé, our resident counselor, as she unpacks understanding stress. She was then just sharing with us the physical implication of what stress can do. Now, Simone, on a personal level, I've become very aware of that I'm stressed, because there's certain indicators that now I've noted that when a certain muscle is tensed, even if I don't think that I'm stressed, I'm not even aware. I'm like, but there's nothing's really stressing me. But when that happens, I know that I'm stressed. So what can one take from that? Because sometimes that something is stressing you. So whether it's at work because there's a deadline, whether it's a relationship, it's a friendship, it's a child, or whatever. Sometimes you don't even know what the source of the stress is, and then but it physically manifests. So whether your skin breaks out, you don't sleep well, you don't eat well, or you don't eat at all, you get tense muscles. In those cases, where do you even start to look to say, what is stressing me out?
Oh, that's a very good point, because I think we can live with the things of stress so much that we don't even know where the source is coming from anymore. It just happens in our subconscious, yeah, Khanya. I think it's important to understand that you are stressed, and sometimes that is okay, that's enough. You don't have to go and figure out where that stress comes from, because that might just prolong the stress and make you stress even more. Because we've pushed some things into our subconscious that are not in our conscious mind, which means we are not actively thinking about it. We've suppressed a few things, specifically things like trauma, those types of things, trauma or trauma related experiences, or even things that you just don't want to figure out now. Or, we're so actively busy with the 100 things we need to do today that, the 100 things from yesterday are still not done. And you don't even think that, oh, it's because I didn't just do that one thing. But we don't have the time to figure it out. You don't have, and what I mean when yes, I do, you don't have time to figure it out. Your body is in a state of stress. Your time to figure out is going to take you away from trying to actually calm yourself down and understand that if I don't calm down and if I don't find a way to release the stress, I can increase risk of depression. I can increase physical issues like headaches, heartburn. I won't be able to sleep properly. So you're actually going to just continue on the cycle, weakening your immune system day by day by trying to still figure out or say, okay, when I go on holiday, I'll figure out why I was stressed on that day. It doesn't matter. Like it's just prolonging the inevitable. So find a way to say to yourself, okay, I need to now. I realize that I'm stressed because the tension in my back is going up, and sometimes yes, you don't even know why it's happening, but then you start realizing your shoulders are almost by your ears, and just relax, just and I encourage the deep breath work, because people are going, yeah, but I breathe all the time. Like, I don't have to do breath work.
Yeah.
But you don't have to go into it deep, but just three deep breaths. And you'll realize after the third one, and you let go with a sigh every time you exhale, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. You just have to constantly do that. No, your stress won't go away straight away, but you'll start feeling like you are able to understand it and tackle it from then on, and realize, okay, this has happened and it's over. Now I'm going to better myself. Sometimes we don't have to. challenge everything. Sorry, Kanya. I just want to say also keeping healthy in other ways as well is also very important, such as exercise and just mentally relaxing yourself too.
The voice of Simone Momplé, our resident counselor. She joins us every Wellness Day to talk all things mental health with us so that you are not only healed through the beats of pleasure right here on Radio Bob, the station with the mind of its own, but you're also empowered with knowledge that will help you to live a well-rounded wellness life. Simone, so I was going to ask you, but I think you've responded to that. I was going to say, so what are the tangible things that we can do to deal with stress? Because not only does then it affect us as an individual physically, but then it also spills out to our relationships, etc. So what are the things, three things that you can tell us that we can do outside of exercise, so a thing that we can do with self to try and control or deal or understand our stress. Also, if the stressor is something that is external, what we can do there, and something that we can just practice on a daily to try and tip the scales from moving into a constant state of going deeper and deeper into stress and just trying to now, lift ourselves out of that situation.
Okay, so yes, there are many things, and I'm sure that many people will react differently to what they need. I think that the main things are getting a good night's rest and completely switching off half an hour before you actually fall asleep. That means no phone. Usually they say 2 hours, but we'll start with 30 minutes because I know we like to watch TV and fall asleep. So that doesn't actually help your brain to fall asleep because your brain might still be active. So, the blue light also affects our brain and it keeps it awake, um, keeps it alert, and you might be physically sleeping, but your brain will still be working. So make sure you're getting a good night's rest. I know they say 6 to 8 hours, but just make sure that you have a solid sleep and that you wake up feeling rested. And then make sure that you're drinking lots of water, staying healthy in terms of what you are eating as well. A lot of the heavy carbs food and oily types of food, bad oils, is not good for you and not good for the stress as well. Remember, stress is an internal process that's happening. So whatever you are feeding it is also going to either prolong it or it's going to help you to relax it. So make sure, even if it's just one or two things that you start with, that you're going to start eating healthy or eating a little bit differently, and stop not eating as well. I mean, thinking that, okay, I'm so stressed, I worked so hard today, I skipped lunch. Just try and keep a boiled egg or something with you that you can just, fill your stomach, because that is definitely necessary. And then lastly, find ways that you can relax. So relaxing techniques into your everyday routine. Now people say, I don't have time for exercise. I'm going to ask you to do 10 jumping jacks every time you feel stressed, or at least once a day. So 10 jumping jacks is going to really activate your system, get your blood flowing into the right areas, and it's definitely going to just help you to relax the body. Now you think that, oh, but I'm going to exercise, it's going to put my body in a more stressed state. No, that's the good stress we were talking about earlier. So that's necessary. So just do some 10 jumping jacks, make sure that you eat, your diet is healthy, and then get that good night's rest.
Thank you so much. The voice there of Simone Momplé, our resident counselor, who joins us every Wednesday on the only date that matters, Lunch with Khanya, serving us simple, smooth, and saucy, empowering knowledge on how to stay mentally well. It's Wellness Day right here on Radio Bob, the station with the mind of its own. Simone, for anybody who has listened in and says, you know what, I'd like to hear more, I'd like to get more guidance, how do they reach you?
Thank you, Khanya. So they can definitely reach me on all social media platforms. You can find me Simone Momplé, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Simone the Dancer on Instagram. And I also post our podcast on YouTube, so you can go there and check it out. For any further questions, they can contact me. It's smomple4, SMOMPLE 4 @gmail.com. And they're welcome to reach out anytime. I have coffee sessions that we can unpack anything that they'd like to, especially as they wind down going into December holidays.
Thank you so much, Simone, once again for taking the time out to empower the boppers right here on Radio Bop, the station with the mind of its own.